Hi matey here, just a bit of a follow up on shading for Harmony. Harmony asked me a bit of advice on doing some shading and shadowing, so I've taken the photo, put some shadows underneath the model's face here, and I can see there's a few bits and pieces I want to pick up. So I'm going to fix up this area here around her ear, at the back of her jaw, and this line here. Alright, so the tool I'm going to use, it's called the mixer brush, and it hides in underneath here with the brush tool. It's that one there, mixer brush. Alright, so the most important thing about this brush is when you set it up is that you have this box here needs to be clear, and this box here, if you hover over it, says clean the brush after each stroke. So it's very important that you have that ticked. That is clear, and these all need to be low values. So the wet is 16. These are just my settings, but you can change them around a bit. Load is 29%, mix is 21%, and the flow is 28%. So let me get that out of the way. To start off, I'm going to put a layer over the top of the background, and I'm actually going to paint onto that layer with this brush with those settings. So I'm just going to brush backwards and forwards, and it's slowly going to mix the colours that are around either side of that line, and it's going to cover them up. And just so you can see what this is doing, if I turn off the background layer, you can see it's just painted over the top. Let's fix that up. Now I should be able to drag some light into here as well, so gently, bit by bit, I'm going to fix up that shadow on her ear there because I don't like it. Alright, some people use a smudge tool, and I've been guilty of that myself. But I can keep a little bit more of the detail doing it this way, I think. So that's what I'm prepared to do. Alright, so it's funny, Rebel was modelling for me. She had these lovely earrings on, and for some reason they haven't rendered properly to me, so I'm going to do this picture without her earring. Hope she doesn't mind. Right, so I'm gonna clone stamp that one out. So I'm gonna take a sample of a colour which is very similar, hopefully, and onto its own layer. I'm just gonna didn't like it's the wrong colour in it. Alright, we'll try again. Let's take a sample there. Alright, so I can just tidy that up with a mixer brush. Like that. Alright, I'll just pause this here. Okay, now I can see there's an alpha glitch here on the hair. A lot of times, if you notice these in Second Life, it's better because quite often what you can do is you can take the hair on and off, and sometimes that'll fix these alpha glitches. And I'm going to zoom out. I think I need to do something about that. So there's a couple of ways you could fix this. You could try using the clone stamp, but I think the best way to fix this one is to just draw some hair over the top of that, so it's not. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a new layer. I'm going to get a sample of hair colour and find a brush, a hair brush, and paint it. Alright, so I'm going to So this is a hairbrush. Need to resize it. Alright, so I'm going to draw a path with the pen tool and I'm going to stroke that path. So I'll start like this. And just follow that bit there where it's the alpha is obviously apparent. Stroke. Now I should have just made sure that my brushes are at 100%. There we go, let me do that. Alright, I'll stroke that again. Should work, I think. Let me a little bit there. If you're not using the pen tool, I think you'd learn how to use it. You can do a lot with it. There's plenty of, if you just go to YouTube. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, I'm going to zoom out. Alright, so I'm going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this green screen. So I want all these adjustment layers, I want them all on the same layer as the background. So I'm going to do a stamp of everything. So I highlight the top layer with my Control, my Shift, my Alt and my E key. I'll do a stamp. Okay, I can turn all these off underneath now, I don't need them now. So I might unlock that and I'll group these. Highlight them all, Control G, put them into a group. I can just turn that off. I'm going to place that in behind here and transform and fill the screen with that. So the light's falling on the face sort of from this angle here and it's brighter there, so I'm going to flip this around like that. I'm going to just so Rebel here is just looking for a profile shot, so I'm going to zoom in and concentrate on her face a bit more. Now with the background, I'm just going to blur that, so filter, blur, and probably give it a box blur I think. So I just pretty much just want the colours there, like that. Okay, so I think I've got that frame the way I want it. I'm going to do some dodging and burning now, so I'm going to do this the way I do dodging and burning, which is probably different to a lot of other people, but I'm going to use our curves. And the shadows are already pretty strong here, so I'm going to concentrate on the highlights I think. Now I've got my curves layer underneath the model, so I actually want it above. There we go. Alright, now that I've put the brightness up on everything, I'm going to highlight that layer mask on the curves layer, Control I to invert it. And I'm just going to make sure I was using black there. So Control A. Now with a soft brush, and I'll put the flow and opacity down to around 25%. I'm going to concentrate on the highlights. So you can see on the hair there's natural highlights. Well, as natural as it can be in Second Life, but this scale, call them natural. I'm just going to brighten up those bits there. And I wasn't doing anything because I wasn't painting with white. Here we go. This should be a bit more noticeable now. Thought that was taking a while to build up. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to give a bit more highlight in the eye and on the lips perhaps, and maybe just that line across the top of her lip there. Just the little bits that, would catch the light. Alright, so there's the highlights. I think that makes the lips and the eyes look better, and it just gives a bit more depth to the hair. Now I'm going to give it an iris blur. What I'm going to do first. Yeah, alright, so these bits of hair that are flying off to the side here, this little iris blur should just blur those out a little bit and make them look a bit more like hair and less like drawn lines. So I'm going to do another stamp, Control Shift Alt and E. Up here in the filter box, in mine iris blur is in the blur gallery. On some earlier versions of Photoshop it might just be listed here underneath in blur, but you should have it somewhere in there. Alright, so the way this works is there's 4 dots in the middle of these boxes, and everything that's inside those dots will be in focus, and the bits that fall outside will generally start to blur away. So I'll put the focus on her face and press OK. Alright, so you can see there the hair's blurred around the outside, focus is on the face. Alright, and this is the before. This is after that blur. I just think it gives the picture a bit more depth. I'm going to, on that same layer, I'm going to render a light effect and see how that looks coming across from there down. So let's try that filter. Render lighting effect. If you can hear that. Alright, so I've got the colour picked in here. It's actually, It's in the red scale, but it's sort of grey. It's not quite white, so I can adjust that if I need to. But just change the colour of the picture a little bit. So it's a cross between the ambience, the intensity, the hotspot. I'm going to play around with these until I get something that I'm happy with. Turn that down and softens it up a bit. Alright, so if I have that too much, it sort of burns out there, so you just want to watch out for that. I think it spoils it. Okay, it's rendering. Alright, so it's before and after. I think it's starting to look alright. Rebel's real proud of herself. She bought herself a new head. She's fixed up the shape. Doesn't she look pretty? She's been telling me all morning how beautiful she is, so I think I must agree. Alright, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do some colour adjustments. Colour lookup. Let's try crisp warm look. Give it some colour and maybe change that to the screen blend mode and reduce that. And what else am I going to do? I'm going to I'll try another one of those. This time I might try Candlelight Cube. Change that to soft light. And now I'm going to apply that layer mask. I kind of understand how it works, but it does a bit of magic. The light stuff it leaves light, and the dark stuff it masks, something like that. Anyway, where is it in image? And apply image. If you look at this layer mask over here, when I apply the image, you'll see what it does on that layer mask. It masks it, so you can see where it's black, it's masked all of that all around here. It's all black around here, so all that's been masked out. And where it's light, it's left that colour there. So if I turn that layer mask off, you can see that's without the layer mask, and that's with. Kind of just adds more shadows, adds a bit of colour, blends everything together. Now I'm going to do a stamp, and I'm going to just finish this off with Camera Raw. Okay, so Camera Raw is in here. When it opens up, can we see that? I think that sort of fits in, yep. Alright, so I can adjust the colours here a little bit. Alone. Does the tint make much difference? I don't want to mix around with that either. You can change the exposure here, or you can make it lighter, darker, but I'll leave that alone. I'm going to just play with the highlights and shadows, I think. Sort of soft but clear, so I'm turning clarity down a little bit. Turn down the saturation as a fraction, but turn the vibrance up. Great noise. It's press OK. There we have it. Thanks for watching. If you like these videos, please give me a like and leave comments. If you want me to work on something else, if you leave a comment below and ask me to do something, I'll try hard to get it done for you. Thank you very much.